Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Jesse is now joining us in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Jesse, how can we help?
Yes. So in the last 2 years, I've gained over $100,000 in equity on a property that I bought back in 2021. And I kind of face an issue that a lot of people who bought a house back then, we got a really low interest rate. I got around 3%. And I don't necessarily ever want to sell this property, but I do want to take this equity and buy another property. But I really don't know how to go about it. And I'm also co-signed with my parent on this property.
Oh.
So yeah. So it was a situation where I knew where the market was going, and I know where the market's going to go in the next couple of years. So
You do?
I'm trying.
Whoa. Can we ask you a couple of questions? How is it that you've got your crystal ball?
I think that my dad was right about 2007, and he kind of taught me a lot about how the markets are working. And unfortunately, the only way the market's going to fix right now is the baby boomer generation has to get out of their homes.
Okay, that's one theory.
What do you mean? They have to get out of their home by dying?
No, sell.
Yeah, or they need facilities. But again, I'm a healthcare worker, and the biggest issue in America is these people don't have anywhere to go beyond their homes.
But you said they need to get out of their homes.
Yeah, meaning either whether they go into a long-term care facility or whether they pass away. And that is kind of like the big issue is a lot of Americans are still like in that boomer generation that take up a lot of the homes. I would say majority of my generation, which I'm in my 20s, I'm 27.
They're not taking up a lot of homes, brother. They bought them.
They own them.
It's their house.
No, they own them. But
your generation can build some new ones. That would be cool.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying. That's actually like my question is what I'm trying to do, because the problem is it's so expensive to build houses, and I've looked at like properties and like the value of property now compared to what it was back then, and it's costing a lot more money now to build a house than ever.
So what's your specific question?
So my specific question is I am trying to I want to get a HELOC.
Don't do what you're about to do. You're not going to listen to us, and so I know that. But I'm just telling you, if you and I were having a drink and you were one of my best friends, I would say, do not do what you're about to do. Period.
Do you think it's a bad time to do a HELOC? Or
I think it's never a good idea to put your house on the block, to put land or a home on the block. I don't give 7 craps what the interest rate is. I don't care how much equity you have in it. You're betting into an unknown future. And by the way, I was you 15 years ago. And I have to say these words out loud on a regular basis to remind myself, I was wrong. I thought I was smarter than I actually was, and I thought I'd figured all this stuff out. I didn't know anything about black swan events. I didn't know anything about pricing and supply and demand. I watched a lot of TV and read a lot of internet. Right? And so I thought I knew all these stuff, so I started making these things, and I'm going to make this move and move that over that move. And here's what I did. I dug a hole that it took me and my family a long time to get out of. And so what I'm telling you is the smartest move moving forward is to be really grateful that you got a good rate, really grateful that your house is appreciated. I think it's a terrible idea to co-sign with your parents because they're still have some sort of oversight with you. No, we're partners. You're not. They're mom and dad, right? And I would sit until I've got cash to buy my next place. But you're going to get in the equity game where you're getting a little bit of equity and then pulling it out so you can put a down payment on this place and get a little equity there so you can pull a down payment on that. And it's going to be fine until you turn out like Dave Ramsey and the whole thing comes down on your head. They call the note and you go bankrupt. That's the end game. The only way this works out for you is if you watch a ton of Instagram reels.
Oh, I do.
That's it.
Yeah, because what that does is give you dopamine to make this decision.
That's it. You are playing a slot machine, and Vegas always wins.
Yeah. So, again, so you think it's better to just look into, maybe, selling the house down the line? Because, again, obviously I'm going to count my blessings and stay where I am and kind of wait for the market to kind of...
Why do you want to move?
Correct. Well, because...
Hey, hold on. This correction, bro, I put an offer on a house yesterday, and I got outbid. All these people, it's going to correct. It's going to correct. There is a shortage. It's the lowest number of houses on the market. If you simply know supply and demand, There's very few Mickey Mantle rookie cards. That's why they're worth so much.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to build a whole bunch of houses. They're going to have to increase supply, okay? You're just playing with basic economics. And, bro, I want it to reset. I want all housing prices to cut in half so I can get a nicer house for me and my family. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you like your house, live in your house. If you want to move from your house and you have the money, sell your home and then buy something that you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Like the thing is, for me, like I look at like trying to get into more assets, and I understand like yes, like I don't want to rush out of this house, but I'm trying to use this current asset as a rental property and then buy a second property to basically take my equity to buy a long-term home and use my current property as a rental property because of my area and what I've studied the economics of what's going on in my area right now.
But again, you just listened to everything. Well, you heard everything John said, and then you came back with the same formula. So,
yeah, do what you're going to do, brother.
Yeah,
we still love you.
Yeah,
still love you.
We've made our position clear.
Yeah.
I mean, you've watched a lot of Instagram reels about this. That's why you laughed. I mean, you literally hit him right between the eyes there. He laughed because he's like, yeah, and you should probably keep watching those.
Well, it's going to...
No, I'm just saying, we told you what we would do, which is not this. He's bought into, and he does see the future. So
he does see the future.
I feel like that's the X factor.
It breaks my heart because I was him.
I know, but
him.
Again, this gets back to what you studied.
Yeah,
there is reason, and then there's emotion,
right?
And the way those two things interact with each other, sometimes it's a very interesting mix.
And there is a constant. If you get on the wrong algorithm, there's a constant stream of people telling you you're behind, you're missing out. You're behind, you're missing out. You got to go.
Right.
You got to. And you just end up going, okay, I got to do this. I got to take this asset and move it over to there and move it. Here's the thing. My house right now, if I go get a quote unquote appraisal, they're going to give me a number that they think the house is worth. You know what that is? It's a guess.
It's an absolute guess.
It's a guess. It's not money. It's not cash. It's not an asset. It is an estimation. And at the end of the day, what somebody actually pays me, hands me money for, and I shake hands with them and hand them the keys, that's what that house is worth. And so I'm not going to make any moves on estimations, on guesses, on approximations. I'm not going to borrow against it. I'm not going to put my house on the market for it. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and to follow that up, let's just look at the numbers. So he's going, well, I want to use this house as a rental, and then blah, blah, blah. Okay, run the numbers. What are you going to make? What are you going to make on the actual rent itself? So you have a mortgage payment that you owe the bank, and you're going to charge the renters plus. So whatever there is. So just run the numbers. You make it $1,000 a month. That's not happening very often. $500 a month. Let's just say $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. But that's before there's any kind of, I got to fix the gutters. I got to fix the HVAC because as the landlord,
the lawn care.
There's all this risk.
My tenants flushed whatever down the toilet.
Yeah, there's risk associated with this. For what? How much money are you actually clearing?
Right.
Well, I've got the asset. Then sell it. Then flip.
Right. Or if it's an actual cash asset and you're going to sit on it for the next 15 or 20 years, knock your lights out.
Well, that's different.
Do that all day long.
That's right.
But that's yours. It's an actual tangible asset.
And there's a risk there.
Right.
We've eliminated the risk, or just about completely.
Because I own it. It's mine.
That's right. Yeah. I can flip it I can sell it at any time. So it's a game of, well, I think I can time it right. By the way, no disrespect to Jesse or anybody. I listen to, you know me. I'm like an old man. I listen to the news and read the news every day on business
you've got
news
friends in
and
high
market.
places.
Guess what? Nobody knows.
Nobody
knows what the real estate market's going to be 6 months from now. Nobody.
Everyone was waiting 2 months ago for the rates to drop. Last month for the rates to drop. They didn't.
Nobody knows what the stock market's going to do. It's just, so listen.
Live your life.
Here's what we do know. We know solid financial principles work. That's what we know. And everything else, well, it's how much risk are you willing to take on. So hang in there with us, folks. This has worked for over 3 decades.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.